Hello guys, and welcome to my video. Today I will present to you 7 bad reasons for teaching grammar and 2 good reasons for teaching some. Grammar is important, don't get me wrong. But sometimes people teach too much of it, leaving aside important aspects to teach. Here are 7 reasons why they do this. 1. Because it's there. Some teachers feel the need that they must teach everything from the course book. This is a clear example of grammar being taught only because it is there. We must understand that grammar points in the course book are not always aimed for every type of student. You must be capable of choosing the grammar points which fit your students' needs, rather than just teaching what is there. To successfully achieve this, take into consideration your students' purposes, the environment in which they learn, and the duration of the course. This way, you will know what is best fit for you to teach them and won't run out of time teaching things that won't be of help. An example of teaching grammar only because it is there comes from a well-known experiment made by Hughes and Lascaritaux in 1982. They took mistakes made by Greek secondary children and asked Greek teachers of English, British teachers of English, and British non-teachers to grade the mistakes on a scale from 1 being less serious to 5 being most serious. With the Greek teachers regarded as most serious, native speakers least. This being because native speakers gave higher marks to mistakes which impeded their understanding because the mistakes made were, as many mentioned, intelligibility. Contrary, the Greek teachers marked most serious mistakes in common grammar. They seemed upset because the students were taught this in the earlier stage of the course. Therefore, they should have it mastered. 2. It's tidy. Grammar is considered tidy and teachable in comparison to vocabulary, which is considered vast and untidy. And even though pronunciation can be taught without much difficulty, this still doesn't assure you to have a perfect pronunciation. This is why teachers prefer to concentrate on grammar, because you can apply it to exercises and tick off one by one as if it were a to-do list. It seems though as if learning grammar seems to be much easier than actually learning the language. 3. It's testable. We know that nowadays tests are used to check how much we really know about a certain subject, or if our teachers are teaching us properly. Grammar is used as a testing shortcut, so it's easy that we end up just teaching what can be tested and testing what we have taught. 4. Grammar as a security blanket. Grammar is reassuring and comforting to both teachers and students. As a teacher who knows much grammar, you may feel confident of knowing every structure up and down. And this also happens with students. They feel as if they understand and control what is going on. And although it's a great way to boost their confidence, both students and teachers concentrate too much on grammar and leave other important aspects behind. For example, one can know all the grammatical structures perfectly, but when it's time to put it into practice, their speaking skills may lack many aspects or their vocabulary isn't of much range, and so on. 5. It formed my character. Teachers from an earlier generation tend to focus on teaching grammar because they spent a long amount of time learning it. They think it's of much importance, leading to them overvaluing it. 6. You have to teach the whole system. People consider grammar as a single interconnected system in which everything has to be learned in order to work properly. As teachers, we must not feel as if we don't teach every grammar structure, we will fail teaching other elements. Instead of this, we must understand that grammar is an accumulation of different elements. Some more systematic than others, some linked together tightly or loosely, and some completely independent and detachable. We must teach selected items according to our students' needs. Ask yourself, how much of this do the students know already from their mother tongue? How much of the rest is important? How much of that have we got time for? Try. Seven, power. Some teachers unfortunately enjoy power. As a teacher, you might feel superior by knowing more than your students, being the authority, and always being right. It may happen that you as a teacher have an awful accent than most of your students, or that there's a student who has a wider range of vocabulary than you do, or even maybe there is a native speaker in your class. But they won't be able to talk coherently and confidently about progressive infinitives or the use of articles with uncountable nouns. So, if you can, you win. Grammar in society. Society likes grammar. Why? Because it is full of rules and because rules determine correct behavior. It is an excellent option to use in teaching. For example, in countries where free speech is valued, language classes are likely to let students talk, move about, and join in the decision-making. In more authoritarian societies, students are more likely to sit in rows, listen, learn rules, do grammar exercises, make mistakes, and get corrected. This is why grammar is sometimes taught more, leaving out other skills. The results: teaching grammar instead of English. Students don't learn the language, they learn grammar instead of learning other things which matter as much or even more. And although they may know the main rules, they can pass tests, and they may feel as if they know the language very well, they lack vital elements, such as vocabulary and fluency. Yes, they may know how to form correctly a sentence, but they can't sustain a conversation. Another result is in the psychological field. Too much grammar tends to make a student more afraid of making mistakes, lowering their confidence and destroying their motivation. The other extreme. There are also bad reasons for not teaching grammar. Or some people either teach too much of it, too little of it, or even none. In the 1970s in Britain, there was a communicative approach in which teaching skills instead of grammar occurred. This led to a generation of teachers and teacher trainers seriously ignorant of the structure of the language. We must understand that also doing too little grammar can be as damaging as doing too much. Two good reasons for teaching some grammar. Two good reasons for teaching carefully selected points of grammar are: 1. Comprehensibility. Knowing how to build and use certain structures makes it possible to communicate common types of meaning successfully. Without these structures, it is difficult to make comprehensible sentences. We must identify these structures and teach them well. You must include such things as basic verb forms, interrogative and negative structures, the use of the main tenses, and the grammar of modal auxiliaries. 2. Acceptability. In some social contexts, a person who speaks badly may not be taken seriously or may be considered uneducated or stupid. Students need a higher level of grammatical correctness that is required for comprehensibility. For example, when seeking a job or taking a test, a high, often unreasonably high level of grammatical correctness is required. The points of grammar we choose to teach will therefore depend on our circumstances and our learners' aims. We must make sure that we are teaching only the points of grammar that we need to in the light of these factors, and that we are teaching them well. If we can manage to focus clearly on these principles, we have a better chance of teaching English instead of just teaching grammar. So we have come to the end of the video. I hope that this video was clear and helpful as it was for me, and that in a near future you can take this into account with your students. Now you can pass on to my classmates' videos. Thank you very much. Hello guys, today I will... Perdón, otra vez. Iniciando mal.